At the end of the day, you can look at what happened that night just about any which way you want to look at it, especially if you sit back for a couple of months and digest it and watch it over and over and over. And at the end of the day, I think that the Attorney General made a correct recommendation. It's fairly in the lane as far as the past practice is concerned, the actions that took place. You know, I think you could argue that maybe Khabib should have got a longer sentence, but he also received the largest fine that I'm aware of for misconduct outside of Mike Tyson. So that's a massive number, $500,000, a massive number for misconduct. I think he understands how bad it was. You know, Conor's a whole nother issue, but you know, Conor's, and I don't mean another issue in a bad way, I mean it's a different issue or a different set of circumstances. The man was on the ground, tapped out and done, and he responded, and all I can go off is that he tried to get out of the cage, but he didn't make it. And then after he got brought back into the cage, he got hit 4 to 6 times trying to defend himself from behind. Is it misconduct? Should he have just sat there? Yeah, but as you know, none of these guys are going to sit there. But I don't think he started it post-fight. He certainly may have instigated it post-fight, but I tried to make that clear for the record. We don't go after verbal, instigations. You know, verbal instigations are not where we go yet. I think you're going to start to see us have to adjust again. Just like oral Turinabol, we're going to have to discuss mouthy fighters and the things that they say prior to fights and what the consequences are for them. The promoters are going to have to start taking some ownership for this and putting fighters in a little bit more of a box on how far we can go with this, because we don't need this. It's the first time I've ever been called from the industry that said don't ever bring that back here. And that usually doesn't happen on Las Vegas Boulevard. The verbal lead up to, you know, the exodus from the cage, you know, all the things that happened on the concourse that night at T-Mobile. A lot of people ran out of there not happy, afraid, not, you know, scared, not coming back. And so it's got to be good for everybody. You know, I'm a big fan of all the arrows pointing in the same direction. And if it's just good for the UFC, and it's not good for the T-Mobile, it's not good for Las Vegas, and it's not good for this town. All the safety measures have already been addressed, and you'll see a substantially different octagon at the next UFC fight in Las Vegas. That was addressed within the week after that fight. You're going to see Metro presence like you've never seen around that octagon. No different than it is in boxing. So security-wise has been addressed, but verbal antagonization to lead up to those events has got to get itself put back in check. You know, we can't cross lines into families and race, and it's just not what the sport's about.
But how much would you expect a First Amendment challenge to that, being a government agency?
I haven't thought that far.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct,
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Yeah, I guess you can say whatever you want at any time, but that doesn't mean that you should earn a privilege license.
Right.
You know, and I think that's people have to understand that this license is a license of privilege, not a license of right. And so I'll leave that up to a bunch of attorneys to fight it out. But I think most people would subscribe to let's tone it down a little bit.